I'm Hiral and I'm from India.
Bonjour, je m'appelle
I'm
William.
Ayano.
I'm Will.
from Japan.
I'm French.
I think it's good, but the only problem for me is I'm vegetarian.
My name is Eldada. I'm from Philadelphia.
My name is
I
James
kinda like
Cleary.
the introduction to like
I
Thai
come
food,
from
more
Zambia.
Japanese,
Normally
international
$10,
food, like the
so
Australian
it's
meat
too
pies. So
expensive
overall, I
for
think
us.
it's a positive experience.
Hi everyone, I'm Vicky and welcome to our podcast, Talk. Recent days, I start to miss my country's food, especially a traditional sauce that was made by yellow bean. It is called 大酱. We had it every summer and my mom mixed it with rice and vegetables. And you know what? Yesterday I had a FaceTime with my mom and I saw her was eating the delicious sauce. That was my favorite food and I really miss it because I couldn't find it in Sydney. Anyway, today on Talk, we are going to hear from international students at Macquarie University and talk about food and culture shock. They are from China, India, Philippines, America, France. Their stories are funny, emotional, and some are even helpful. The first thing you need to know about me is that I'm a foodie. Food dominates my life. I love to cook and I love to eat. But many students I talk to almost never cook for themselves and they are eating out on a budget. In Sydney, I've been able to try foods from around the world. I found a Japanese barbecue place in Chatswood that I just love. They do the best beef tongue. I also really like the cheese you can buy here. We don't get a lot of quality choices at home because it's not a normal part of the Chinese diet. But I've also tried some foods I saw were terrible. That was the final class on my second semester, and everyone should bring food to share, and I tried a Vietnamese mint leaf salad that made me want to cry. But I want to be a polite person, so I pushed myself to eat it. Everyone else loved it. I figured I wasn't the only one that experienced this kind of culture shock. So I asked students to tell me about their culinary culture shocks.
Hey, I'm Hiral and I'm from India. So regarding the food here, I think it's good, but the only problem for me is I'm vegetarian and most often I don't have enough options. And when I go out with my friends, all of them are non-vegetarians and I'm the only one who has to crib about going to different places because, they don't have enough vegetarian options. But apart from that, I think the food is fine. And also the food is expensive, like very expensive for me. Especially paying the same amount as they pay for meat and I pay for veggies. Yeah, it's expensive.
My name is Aiden Eldada. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the United States. I came to Australia about 2 years ago. Well, like I said, Australian meat pies. We don't really do meat pies on the East Coast US, and Australian sausages. Kangaroo was the first thing I tried when I first came over here, and I thought that was a pretty novel thing. The biggest thing I miss and what I don't like is that Australia does not do good bagels or good pancakes, which are kind of like two of my favorite things back in Philadelphia, and the East Coast does that really well. But overall, I think I kind of like the introduction to like more Thai food, more Japanese international food, like the Australian meat pies. So overall, I think it'd be a net positive experience.
Originally, I come from Zambia. I'll give you an example of probably chicken. It's like you're eating peppers or something. So this.
I'm from Korea and my name is Eugene Oh. Normally in Korea, restaurants and shops close really late night till like 1 a.m. or even 24/7. But in here, cafe or restaurant close really early, like 8 or 7, and that's the one that I found.
Bonjour, je m'appelle William. I'm Will. I'm French. I was born in Australia, but because of my parents being French, the way we have like dinner at home at night is maybe different from Australians. Like Australians would like eat on the couch, in front of the TV. But whereas like for my family, we'd have to like lay the table and we'd all start eating at the same time. Australian culture is kind of a bit like similar to British culture, where they like maybe will make food quickly and they don't really take their time to make good food. Whereas French would make different dishes every night and take care about it. So
I'm from Hong Kong. One thing that I cannot accept and can never accept is the Vegemite. So the Vegemite is like a dark color spread that spread on the bread, and I think many of the local Aussies, they like it, but for all of the rest of the Asians, they are not like really think that consider this is a food, and we just normally will spread butter or jam instead of that Vegemite.
I used a smart way to make friends by cooking when I first came to Australia. My friend Mimi is from the south of China, and we are not familiar with each other at the first time. So I reckon she could come to my home and we can cook together. During the 4-hour cooking time, we naturally discussed the cuisine and talk about our stories, and then we became best friends. That's the power of food. Food helps us connect with each other. My next story is about Macquarie student who immigrated to Australia when he was a primary school student. His packed lunch made him the talk of the schoolyard.
My name is Anthony, and I'm a student from Macquarie University. I was originally born in the Philippines and moved here when I was in primary school. I felt that the food here was a lot more simple. So I was really surprised when I would go to school and I would bring like lunch packed by my mom, and it was the leftovers from the night before. So I'd have this really nice meal, and then all my friends, they would have a lot of really simple foods. So it would just be a sandwich, and they'd bring in like some celery or like a cucumber and stuff like that, or avocado, and then they'd have like a small can of tuna, which was really minimal, and that was their lunch. For me, that's not even recess. Well, in my school, I was really happy with my lunch because my lunch was better than everyone else's, right? Sometimes the teachers would look at me and they're like, wow, your lunch is better than mine. And I was like, yeah, damn right it is. I will admit there were times that some people would approach me because they wanted my food, and then I became friends with them through that. I'd always have all these snacks and all this food, and they're like, Anton, can I have some? And I'm like, yeah, cool, go for it. But yeah, mainly I became friends through people because I transferred into the school, and a lot of people were very friendly to me. And it was a bit tough in my first 2 years because there was a little bit of racism. It wasn't like intended, but it's the kind that, you know, when someone's different from you and you're a kid, you don't know how to accept things. So I experienced a bit of that. But even when I went to like parties, like they don't serve food that's going to fill you up. It's one of those foods that you just take and go, like the fries, the potato chips, the meat pies, and the sausage rolls. But if it's a Filipino dinner, everyone has like a big buffet. You properly eat, and then you talk, and then you hang out. But in Australia, it's just like you take a little bit of food and you talk with everyone as you eat while standing up, which I was really surprised by. In my household, we tend to have a lot of rice-based dishes. Oh yeah, just like lots of rice, a lot of pork, and a lot of fish. So that's what we would mainly have, and it'd be like a whole big box, right? And it's always like dinner leftovers, so we'd have a different meal every night, and my mom would cook Filipino, Chinese, Japanese, and European foods, and she'd like to mix it up, whilst my friends, they would just grab whatever in the fridge, and they're like, okay, yeah, this is my recess. I'm like, what? I feel that my values are Filipino because that's what you grow up with in the household, and they teach you their values with your parents, but your environment is Australian, so you learn to socialize with Australians, and your external personality is Australian, but your internal personality and your values are more like those of at home. If food tastes really bad, I try and swap with my friends and I say, do you like this more than I do? And if none of us like it, then I'll eat about half of it because you need to eat. Nah, Filipinos will eat anything as long as there's meat in it. We eat a lot of meat. Like a lot of our food doesn't look good, but it tastes good. That's why we're okay with eating anything.
The next story is from a Chinese girl, Kate. Everything is new here. Her story is a typical one for most of the Chinese international students in Australia. She misses her mother's handmade dumplings, not just because, well, she says they are the best, but because she missed her mother.
Hi, my name is Kit. I'm from China. At the beginning, I found so excited I can try different food from different countries. For example, like sushi and Korean barbecue and Mexican food. I think food is an important part of my life because it determines my emotions and my mood. If I eat anything that's really delicious, I'll be happy all day. But if I try anything terrible, then I may be upset and disappointed for the rest of my day. When I was sick, I prefer porridge because it's good for stomach. For example, like seafood porridge or red bean, green bean, black bean, that is more healthy. But I couldn't cook it because I was sick. So at that time, I had a really, really serious homesick because I want that porridge so bad, but I couldn't make it. So I miss my hometown and I miss the food in my country so much at that time. The food that I miss most is dumpling from my hometown. Normally we made dumpling by ourselves, but in Australia I don't know how to make it by myself, so I have to go to Chinese supermarket in Eastwood and Chatswood, for example, to buy some quick frozen dumpling and then steam it, or I'm boiling it for myself. But it's different from what you made by yourself, because what we made in China, they have like the taste of home. But whenever I tried any delicious food in Australia, I feel kind of worth it, because if I didn't come here, I may never try it in China. I think food is important because it's the most direct way to reveal that you're not adapted to your new life. So my recommendation for people that come into this country is that you can go outside and try more and make some friends from your own country. Maybe they'll recommend you the best food from your country, and they'll help you to be more familiar with your new life.
That was a moving piece. I'm a Chinese student as well, so that story makes sense to me. Actually, I don't like dumplings before I went to Australia. However, I really miss it, especially the first spring festival I came here, and I couldn't able to go back to my country. I miss my mom and start to love dumpling. I would like to recommend this girl that there are have some WeChat restaurants could deliver the handmade dumplings to home, and hope that would alleviate her problems. Okay, now next is from an Indian student. He is different from others. He likes everything and entirely a foodie. He loves eating in Sydney. It is funny and enjoys it.
Hi, this is Shabab. I've tried almost everything, even though I'm a Muslim and I cannot try the pork. But then again, like when I used to work in the restaurants, we had to taste everything. So I used to taste the pork and it was good. It was just a bit salty, but I don't actually eat it often. But my favorite food is pork belly with applesauce and dehydrated apple with some pork floss on the top. It's just one of the best dishes that I've had. Also, the Thai food is not like back home. Like back home, we just had like a mix of Bengali Thai food. So here it's kind of different, but I like it. So basically, you guys cannot see me as this is a recording. So if you saw me, you would understand that food is one of the main things that I live for, I work for. So I don't party a lot, but sometimes I do. But then again, whatever I earn is just food and food and food and food and food. It's all food about me. I dream about food. When I wake up, I eat food. I go around food all day. Like sometimes you have that, like when you're awake at night, it's a late night and you're just craving some homely food, and you cannot do anything because I live pretty close to the campus and there's actually not much shops around here. So I have to go almost 1 hour-ish, a drive or train or whatever it is, to go and taste something. So it's just 1 hour going there, 1 hour coming here. So that's 2 hours and half an hour to eat and order. So that's basically about it. But if you had a car or anything, you could still go. But then sometimes it's worth it, sometimes it's not. but depends. If you're if you're a foodie like me, then obviously you would prefer food rather than sleep or whatever you'd say. So I live in a shared house, but there are not any Bengalis there. Yeah, so I have 2 Indian people living with me. So we pretty much have the same culture. So they sometimes cook for me, I sometimes cook for them. But yeah, I used to live in a shared house with a few of my friends, and we used to cook together. So that was something. But then, friends should never live together, because then all the bad habits, and you will get into arguments and fights, and that would ruin your relationship. So I would recommend, yes, go to a friend's house, cook together, eat together, have fun, but then again at the end of the night, come away. Yeah, and I miss home a lot, so most of the time I try and copy my mother's recipe, but it's just hard. She has so much experience and she puts in so much love to make it, and here I am, I'm just making it because I'm missing it. So yeah, it's kind of sad in one way, but then again, coming to Australia and trying out new things, getting to know people, trying out mixing with the culture, and trying to taste all the food. It's actually, I would say it's a good experience, and I would recommend people who are new or people who are actually thinking of coming abroad, so wherever they are from, I would say yes, please do come and go around, taste some food, meet people, right? Just blend up. It will actually be good for you, so that in the long run, when you're a grandfather or grandmother, you can just tell your stories to your grandchildren.
After listening to these stories, I not only learned about people's preference for things in different countries, but also found many new inspirations and suggestions from these stories. Food occupies a large part of people's life. If you have difficulties in eating, then people's happiness index will be reduced, especially for international students. They leave their families, stay away from home, and food may also be people's relaxation, a right way to comfort your needs. Cook together. Try something new. If that doesn't work, there's always chocolate. Until next time.